Preet Gill.
Thank you, Sir Christopher. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. I want to thank the Honourable Member for Blaydon, who made some excellent points, and I congratulate her on this debate. And I would also like to declare an interest as Vice President of the Local Government Association. Prior to this debate, I received a number of messages from parents, teachers and staff at schools in my constituency, and they are rightly concerned. We know the statistics, even if the government often seem unwilling to accept them. The Institute for Fiscal Studies showed that school funding is down by £1.7 billion in real terms since 2014-15, and while 1 in 4 primaries and 1 in 6 secondary schools have had their funding cut in cash terms this year. According to the National Education Union, in my constituency of Birmingham Edgbaston, the per-pupil funding between 2015 and 2018 has dropped by £347. And when we discuss the numbers and the scale of cuts, we must remember the impact that the staffing and resource decimation means in practice, and what they mean for our schools and what they mean for our children. Last week, when I was in the constituency, I met with the head teacher of a school who was worried about the cuts she was being forced to make and the impact it would have on the children she and other staff members were trying to support, especially those with additional needs awaiting assessments or specialist provision. A head teacher of another local primary school in my constituency contacted me about the £1 million deficit they are facing as a result of increased cost to schools, uplifts in pension contributions and the planned fair funding formula. They are already about to cut 6 teaching assistant staff who currently support SEN children and will need to make further reductions to try and prepare for a 9.3% cut in overall funding. Meanwhile, a Year 5 teacher wrote to me following an hour-and-a-half stock audit at his school. They were doing the audit to limit the stock they use, for example, using 6 glue sticks per half term. The teacher is worried about what happens next, and head teachers told me they were unsure how they will manage to maintain their currently good provision. Does the Minister have any answers? And what does he say to the 10 schools, the children and their parents in Birmingham, which now close at lunchtime on a Friday because they can't afford to stay open longer? I have had constituents and school staff contact me about this debate. They are not asking me to ask for more money to support their children. Instead, they are increasingly asking for the savage cuts to be less vicious, asking if the cuts can be graduated to try and minimise the negative impact they are and will have on children and young people. And let me be clear, I'm actually asking for more money. As a mother with 2 children at a school, this is a shocking state of affairs and a situation that the government should be thoroughly ashamed of. The government has cut funding while expecting schools to do more. Schools are meant to manage the increasing complex needs of children with mental health problems, special educational needs and disabilities. And the LGA estimates that councils are facing a high needs funding shortfall of £472 million in the 2018-19 financial year, and this funding gap could rise to £1.6 billion by 2021. And with schools close to breaking point, having already cut resources, staff and opening hours, how are they meant to support children and young people with complex needs? The Children's Commissioner said that the government's plans required quadrupling to ensure there are no gaps and black holes for children who need support with their mental health. So does the Minister agree with me that in order to invest in prevention as well as the treatment of symptoms, schools must be sufficiently resourced? So can he tell us what steps are being taken to achieve this? Thank you.